That there on the back, it's called a caboose. He pointed a hoof towards the red car in the rear. That has the brakes, you see. When we go up the mountain, we have to keep switching out puller teams, 'cause that's their hard work. One team pulls, one team rides, and keeps a lookout for raiders. But when we go down the mountain, every pony rides, and we use the brakes to keep us from going too fast. Now he pointed at the one in the front. That there's called the engine. It's for pulling the train, although mostly we just use it for the whistle. It keeps varmints off the track. Huh? For pulling the train? I thought you bucks pulled the train. Yep, we do. Then, well, because engine don't work without coal. Ain't got no coal, ain't got no coal car even if we had it. So instead, we use pony power. That didn't make any sense. So, the engine is to pull the train, but the engine can't pull the train. So, you all have to pull the train and the engine. I had to be missing something. Yep. Okay. Then why don't you have any coal? Where's the coal? The train pony rolled his eyes at me. Oh, there ain't any coal in Equestria. I felt something in my head snapping. All the coal's in a far, far away land. Then how was the coal supposed to get here? By train, of course. Ah! That was it. I needed to stop learning about trains. They hurt my brain. This conversation had made the pounding in my head much worse. Splashing through puddles, Calamity trotted back. After the train pony had gone back to his work, Calamity reared up and waved his forehooves around, making a mock, spooky face. Ooh, all the coals in strange, faraway lands, full of zebras. Ooh. I stared at him, not plussed. Done now? He dropped back to standing and pulled a tin out of his saddlebag, offering it to me with his teeth. I levitated it close for a look. The tin had a scratched-out picture of a zebra on it. Those were in there called party-time mentals. Brewed up using mentals and, well, some other stuff. Guaranteed to make you the laugh of the party. Those things will clear up your hangover, clear up your head, and make you the smoothest talking pony in the wasteland. I looked dubious, but then I trusted Calamity, and what did I have to lose? Telekinetically opening the tin, I pulled out one of the little squares inside and put it in my mouth, chewing experimentally. I had to admit, they were tasty, although the aftertaste was kind of bitter. But I didn't feel any different than Whoa! The whole world shot in stark focus. Colors became brighter and more pleasant. Even the rain seemed nicer. And my thoughts, I was thinking more clearly than I had ever. I was figuring things out that I never could before. By Celestia, where had this wonderful stuff been all my life? I felt confident. Figuring out just what I needed to say was going to be easy. I could talk any pony into anything, and I was about to prove it. Hours later, I stared out the window of the passenger car, watching the landscape roll by. Or, at least, as much of it as I could see, considering the sky had darkened and the rainfall had escalated again. Remembering rivulets running down the cliff face near Stable 24, I prayed the storm wouldn't cause us trouble going up the mountain. Talking the train ponies into waiting for us had been easy, making up for the crash when that party-time mental wore off, leaving me feeling half blind and horridly stupid without its help. It was all I could do not to eat another one right away. In fact, I would have done so if Calamity hadn't snatched the tin away. Even now, I cast furtive glances at his saddlebags. Ugh. Think of something else. I tried tuning in the DJ Pony station. It was barely audible through a haze of static. New Appaloosa, I figured, was near the edge of good reception. I tried another station on my pip-buck and found the music of the Sprite Bots. Calamity told me to turn it off. Staring out the window, I found my mind drifting until it settled on, of all things, Ditsy-Do. I was wearing my utility barding, now upgraded to be effective armor thanks to the strange but cheerful Pegasus Ghoul. The poor pony, I thought, seeing her home obliterated, and then turned into a rotted mockery of a normal pony, and made to live with that memory for centuries. Raiders, slavers, she'd suffered at the hose of both of them. Actually seen things that horrified me to contemplate. And as if that wasn't enough, as a ghoul pony, it was as if she had some magical sword hanging over her brain, waiting to drop. It was amazing that she wasn't a broken wreck of a pony. I remember her smile, wondering how she could be happy. And then I got it. Calamity asked, "What's got you smiling like that all of a sudden?" I chuckled at myself, shaking my head. Laughter is a virtue. What now? I smiled, holding back a laugh of my own. Maybe not giggle laughter, and definitely not wah-ha-ha laughter, but the kind inside laughter that allows a pony to take everything this world throws at her and not lose joy. Maybe it was a little stretch to call that laughter, but it was definitely a virtue. I turned back to the window, my own spirits somehow higher than they had been in days. Lightning flashed outside. I gasped, jumping back from the window. I would have sworn I saw a head of a giant pink pony, the size of an Ursa Major, peering at me over the hilltop, grinning. "You ready?" Calamity shouted through the downpour. The train was approaching Appaloosa. Old Appaloosa. Calamity and I were standing on the rain-slick roof of the passenger car, wind whipping rain into our faces and pulling at our manes and tails. I nodded. Wrapping his forelegs around me, Calamity stretched out his wings and caught the wind. The storm snatched us up off the train, and Calamity began to steer us towards the ridge that overlooked the slaver town. The wind buffeted us, making me fearful that we would crash, but Calamity's course stayed true. We landed, and I immediately slipped and fell in the mud. Calamity barked a laugh. I shook really hard, flinging at least half the mud off onto him, and then laughed too. But then we stopped. Virtue or not, there was a time and place for laughter, and this wasn't it. I floated my binoculars over to Calamity, and then pulled out the sniper rifle to peer down its scope at the collection of dilapidated wooden buildings, derailed boxcars, makeshift metal structures, and slave cages that made up old Appaloosa. The train was just pulling in. Between the darkness of the storm and the distraction of the train, there would never be a better time to sneak in. Through the sniper scope, I could make out the silhouettes of guards walking along the catwalks that ran between the buildings and above the cages. In the cages, I could see slave ponies laying under the pouring rain, forlorn shapes in the storm. I felt a familiar pissedness taking hold. "Calamity, stay up here. I'm heading down in." "I didn't come all this way to stay back." I levitated the sniper rifle to him. "You're my cover, and my quick exit if things go bad. Unless you think you'd be better at picking those locks, and I'd be better at flying you out." He clearly wasn't happy, but conceded my point. Pulling out little Macintosh and checking to make sure it was loaded, I started down the slippery ridge. I didn't want to have to use this gun. Not that I was feeling particularly live and let live about slavers. It was just that, for all the things little Macintosh was, it wasn't quiet.